Hello and welcome to another edition of Sunspots. My name's Evan Cooke, joined as always by head coach of the Okanagan Sun, Ben Macauley, coming off 31-31 tie at the Apple Bowl over the weekend. Lots I want to ask you about that game, but maybe I'll just start off getting your initial thoughts on how it went.
Well, it's hard to not feel like a tie is a bit of a loss for us. We felt like we had a number of opportunities to close that game out and put the nail in the coffin, so to speak, but we didn't take advantage. And giving up the last couple points there to tie it up was a big disappointment. And I know the feeling around the team was that it was a loss not being able to pull out a victory there. Even though it's a tie, we still get a point. We still remain unbeaten. We feel like we should have won the game, and we let it slip away.
Seemed like a little bit of a slow start for the group initially. There are a number of factors that might have played into that, but how did you kind of evaluate the first quarter and a bit of football?
Yeah, it's hard to say exactly what it was. It wasn't a lack of preparation, as we spent a lot of time over the bye week making sure that we were fundamentally and systematically in the right places and understood our assignments. But we came out with a little bit of an attitude that we didn't have to work for it. And you're going to get the best game from every opponent, and that's exactly what we got from the Raiders. And they played their best game of the year, and line that up with our worst game of the year, and it's a recipe for something bad to happen.
Offensively, obviously the big story in this one was Shamar Donaldson putting up four touchdowns over the game. And in terms of a special performance like that, that must have been nice to see, just given the fact that he's had to work his way back this year from injury and obviously kind of teed off there yesterday.
Yeah, and not just this year, last year as well, and the year before that, he's kind of been itching to burst out and have his day, and it was nice to see him get some recognition on the stat sheet. He's been working hard in the off season. Last year, he really put in the time and the effort, and we just he didn't factor in as a huge part of our offense, not for lack of trying, but to see it all come together for him in probably a historic performance. It's just wonderful to see. He's a really humble kid, down to earth, and to see him get that recognition is just it's fantastic. I know his family and his parents are really proud of him back in Saskatchewan, and we're sure proud of him around the club.
Another guy bouncing back from injuries, so to speak, was Brendan Hansen, who got in a little bit before the bye week, but played a bigger role this weekend and looked good doing it as well.
Yeah, Brendan's a tough player. He wants to be on the field. He really badly pushes to make his way onto the field and have a presence. But we're easing him back in. We still didn't give him the workload that we think he's capable of. So we'd like to get back to that point where he's the every down back, but it'll take some time. He's also coming off of an injury, just like Shamar. We want to ease them back in, and I expect Brendan to have a performance much like Shamar's as soon as we give him full go.
Seemed like there were more instances on Sunday where the offense was having to start a drive from kind of deep in your own end of the field. Seemed like that happened more on Sunday than it has in a lot of other games that you've played this year. Do you think that made it a little tougher on them, just having to start those drives further down the field and having to push further to get to the end zone?
Yeah, one thing we didn't have the luxury of was outstanding special teams play that up until this point has been able to swing the games in our favor and allow us to play with a short field. We had some miscommunication and problems on special teams, and guys not executing assignments. Even when they were doing the right thing, they weren't doing it well enough. And that's a group we need to have play really well going further into the season down the stretch. But there's a number of things that led up to it, but we have to ask more of our special teams unit to put us in a better position to win. That being said, we have goals for our offense as well. We need to be able to get first downs, and we need to be able to win backfield position as well. So there's no blameless group in that performance.
Defensively, another thing that the group hasn't been used to a whole lot this season is playing from behind, and that happened in the first half yesterday when you guys were down a couple of touchdowns almost at one point in the game. But What did you feel like defensively your group did? It seemed like they certainly improved over the course of the game, but again, maybe not as hot a start as you would have liked.
There's a couple of adjustments that we had to make in order to take away some of the strengths of the Raiders, and I don't think it was for a lack of being in position. It was more for an execution. We clearly didn't do a good enough job of getting the guys ready to execute. The assignment wasn't an issue. Schematically, they didn't do anything we weren't prepared for, but they did come and play with a lot of emotion, a lot of passion, and Coach Hawking had them ready to go, and we just weren't ready to respond.
And that final drive, I mean, talk about the emotions of that, where the penalty comes in and it puts you guys down to the 1 yard line, and you stuff them on the first two, and then that third down play they score. That was going to be an emotional time for you guys on the sidelines.
Yeah, it felt like it lasted forever. We couldn't get enough. We had two chances to sack the quarterback and put an end to the game, basically. We weren't able to take advantage of it, and that was body positioning and execution by defensive line, a group who fully well knows and have already said as much that they take a lot of responsibility in that last drive, but we can't put ourselves in that position. Getting 2 stops is very tough. Getting a third's even harder. So for us to do as well as we did in that situation, it was great, but we didn't get the result we wanted, and it's not good enough.
Last question, just about the upcoming matchup, playing the Valley Huskers, a team that you beat big here earlier in the season, out in Chilliwack this coming weekend. What do you do to prepare for them and make sure that that effort is there on the weekend?
Well, we have to get back to what we do best, which is look at ourselves and be critical and push ourselves in practice. Our practices are meant to be harder than the games, and by the time we get to the game, it's just a matter of kind of putting the cherry on top of it. We like to work hard Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday a walkthrough, and then by Saturday we've already done our hard work, and we just need to go out and execute. So we need to get back to that and not think about who we're playing, just push ourselves to get better every single day we're out on the field.
Welcome back to Sunspots. Evan Cooke here, joined by one of the rookie members of the Sun team this year. That's Javen Kaechele. And first off, let's talk a little bit about how you got here. I know that you played high school out in the Calgary area, and you're a member of the Sun this year. How did you get familiar with this program, and how did it kind of get on your radar?
So originally I was approached on Facebook. They sent me a message. The recruiting coordinator sent me a message and just reached out to me, said they were coming into Calgary, asked me if I wanted to come down to their meeting, and obviously it looked like a cool program. I hadn't heard too much about it, and so wanted to go learn more. So I went down to the meeting. Coaches really impressed me, made a good pitch to me and the other guys there. And so from there, just started talking with Coach Ben, and then was invited out to the spring camp, came out, tried out, and everything fell into place.
And I know that you played a bit of quarterback in high school, right? That was what you normally played.
Yeah, I played quarterback all through high school, actually. There was no quarterback in grade 10, so I just tried out and went for it.
Why not?
Yeah, exactly.
And so have you always kind of been an offensive guy then in that sense?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not really known for my defense at all. I can't tackle. I mean, I'm definitely offensive minded, so yeah, definitely.
That being said, as a member of the special teams unit for the Sun this season, you've had to, including Sunday, there was kind of a missed punt where you were the first guy up that made a big tackle there.
Yeah, I don't know. That was, I guess, just an instinctual kind of thing. I mean, I was going to block a punt, and I saw him roll out because he bobbled it, and I just did the first thing that came to mind, which was obviously stop him, and just wrapped up like they taught me.
The other big play for you on specials this year has been against the Raiders in Nanaimo, of course, that 105-yard kick return touchdown. That was kind of a cool play to watch. It seemed like you really barely got touched that entire return. What was it like making those reads, and then finally when you cut outside and you knew that you probably had a shot at the end zone?
It was pretty awesome. As soon as I caught that ball in the air, I kind of surveyed quickly. We had called a return left, and so I saw the hole and I just went for it. I saw the blocks line up and I just went for it. And then when I got through the hole, there was one guy to beat, and I just gave him a little inside move and went.
I think it was the kicker even
Yeah.
on that play
Yeah, it was.
who tried to cut you off and you just went outside. And as far as how the team's gone this season, what's it been like for you coming to Kelowna and joining this group? What's it all been like here in your first year so far?
They've been really welcoming, super helpful. They helped me find a house to live in, helped me with a job. The guys on the team have been super supportive. Always, like, if I need help with anything, there's always someone there for me. If I need to talk to someone about anything, they're always there for me. So the support here is huge, and I've just really enjoyed it.
And I mean, success on the field, obviously through the first 6 games now, you guys haven't lost a game yet. That on-field success has certainly come with it. I'm sure you maybe weren't anticipating this level of success coming to the team this year, but what's it been like kind of watching the guys go to work every week, yourself included, and really coming away with good results so far?
It's super cool just because in high school, I guess my team wasn't the most successful always. And so coming to a team that is really just driven on work ethic and just doing your job, following your assignments, and like having that pay off has been huge. Just seeing the success, and like it just motivates me to be better. And watching some of the older guys that I look up to, like Shamar, Liam Crane, those kind of guys, I really look up to them. And so watching them go out and have our work pay off is huge.
Yeah, what's it been like transitioning from the high school game to the Sun, maybe work-wise specifically, putting in the work? What's been different that you've really noticed this year as you've taken the next step in your football career?
I'd definitely say the physical aspect of the game, as well as the mental, just because it's a longer season. You really have to stay focused a lot more, and I think there's also more to take in. So it's kind of, once you figure out the physical aspect and get used to it, it's more just, it becomes a mental thing, just staying focused and being on time to practice every day and stuff like that.
And you talked a little bit about the leadership core that this team has and some of the guys that you've looked up to. I imagine that's kind of been a different thing as well this year, because in high school, I mean, you're the quarterback of the team. You're a guy that I'm sure a lot of guys are looking up to. And now coming into this group, there's some veterans that you can take a lot from.
Yeah, it was definitely a humbling experience, I think. Just like you said, coming from being the leader of the team to pretty much the bottom. It's just been really cool because I was a little worried about that kind of thing just coming in. I didn't know how they'd accept me, but it's really just been super awesome to have the support of them.
And as we go into the next week here, what kinds of things are you maybe expecting in the next week's matchup? What kinds of things are you guys going to be preparing for?
This week we really preached just no mistakes. And so I think going forward this week in practice, leading up to the Chilliwack game, we really just have to be more prominent about that because, as you saw in the game, we did have a lot of mistakes. And so we can definitely play with Chilliwack, and we just need to fix our mistakes.
Well, the Okanagan Sun back in action this weekend. That game is going to be on the road. It's out in Chilliwack Saturday afternoon, 1 p.m. kickoff from there. Thanks for watching.